Well, good morning. It's Rod from Rod's Books and Relics. It is a very rainy day here in Tulsa, just outside Tulsa on this Tuesday morning. So it's a perfect day to get some eBaying done. And let me show you and walk you through some of my processes. Of course, I use the term processes very loosely because, as you'll see in my workspace out here, it doesn't always flow appropriately, and it's a never-ending goal of improving that. All right, so we're out in my office, also called the new room. And let me step back into the kitchen and pan around. This room used to be the back porch, and that would go down the steps into a backyard. But when I was about 3 or 4 years old, they enclosed it, my folks enclosed it and turned it into a regular room. And I guess you could say it's about time for updating it after 40 plus years. As you can see, it's somewhat of a catch-all. I have china cabinets, I have some of my own collections of things. I have one photo station set up here. Check out that Elton John. That's going on eBay pretty soon. 1973 Elton John candle. I can't find any comps. Have you ever seen one? Ever-present companions, the cats. Here's that. These are books I've listed recently on Abe Books, and I want to make a video about those because those are usually stored down at the building, those and what's in the bottom shelf there. But I've left them here in order to film and explain more about those in a separate video. Here's one of those boxes of wires that every family has. And then a china cabinet. And you know, people talk about their death piles, their inventory that they need to list. Well, my entire house, it's only a matter of asking yourself each day, do I want to keep this? Do I want to sell this? And frankly, it can get kind of exhausting. There's Hulk Hogan stuffy, he's listed. A lot of my mom's fox prints and Maxfield Parishes. Obviously, I like them as well, or I wouldn't have kept them. And then I have a larger photo station set up down here. Look, here's a funny little picture that my sister made for the family a long time ago. That's my sister. There's my cousin in Fresno, my brother-in-law, Herb, mom and dad, me, and my dad's two sisters. Aunt Anna from Fresno and Aunt Helen that lived here and worked the shop with Dad. So here are just a few of the items I have queued up to list today. One of these My Twin dolls. I can't positively identify her, so I always hate to list something when I don't know exactly what it is. This china cabinet down here, I've almost succeeded in getting it emptied. And a lot of what is still in there is inventory that I have listed. Of course, I love a couple of these old pieces of furniture, and that's going to be a real challenge out here because, unfortunately, this old carpet is going to need to come up. And I really would like to make this space a lot more functional. Oh, do you want to see? We are lucky. I said this used to be the backyard. Now we have this back porch for the last several years. And it gives us a great place. This is just a little segue from the eBay biz. My son raised over 50 tomatoes from seeds. And this just gives us a good area to keep our plants in over the winter, but winter's basically over, so some of these are going to be going back outside. And my cat just always wants to get out. So along with projects, paperwork, and eBay listing to do upstairs here, let's see if I can go downstairs without losing my footing, but I've gone up and down these so many times, you know, they're pretty. So here's the basement. The pool table, also known as my workstation. Here is another nice load, by the way. These are the items of glassware that I rescued from that dumpster over the weekend. Haven't cleaned them up yet, and I wanted to make a short video about those as well. And then this is one of my storage rooms. I really haven't been selling too much on eBay lately, but of course I have not been listing as much either. The entire house is a hodgepodge of inherited items. Again, referencing the death pile, items like these old duck decoys, clocks, which have decreased in value. I have inventory, but unfortunately the heyday of some of this inventory has passed us by. These clocks were worth more 20, 30 years ago than they are now. Will they come back? Well, who knows? And do I want to hold on to them and wait for that? Of course, it's so cloudy and rainy today. Lighting is going to be a little bit more of a challenge. And that's just one of those mini processes, one of those speed bumps that can slow you down. So don't be like me. Get yourself some good lighting. Again, there's Peaches. Just me talking to the camera. It makes her think something's going on. So, anyway, my processes for listing have been lately, I like to take the picture, weigh the item, and get the draft all queued up on the eBay mobile app. Then after you've taken the pictures and put in the appropriate weight for mailing, you can sometimes go to a more comfortable location, even say the hot tub, for instance, and work on your listing. I also like to use a little bit of the AI description, but then, of course, I edited it. Here's a few more things I'm getting ready to list. A few Brian Lumley horror paperbacks. Some of these Avon ceramic flowers. You wouldn't think they're very good, but they did have some decent sold comps in the $20, $25 range. The I Ching deck of cards. So what I will do is I'll take a picture of these items, weigh them, get the draft of the listing framed up on the eBay mobile app, and then you can go in, tweak the details, edit the descriptions, and boom, it's ready to go. And I think tonight I'm going to try a few auctions. Something, especially like this Elton John candle I referred to earlier. Or how about this? Even better. 1960s Beatles cake toppers. Bobbleheads. Sealed. Take these Barbie dolls, for instance. You have Scarlett O'Hara and Rhett Butler. I had those on eBay at one time. They did not sell. I had them in the antique booth. They did not sell. Now I'm going to list them. I had them listed separately on eBay. Now I'm going to list them together and try to sell those. It's items like this you're always constantly asking yourself, should I let it go at a discounted price? Should I hold on to it in hopes it'll appreciate? I've already held on to it since the mid-90s when my dad bought these off the shelf. You have to weigh it against the Barbie craze from a couple years ago with the release of the movie versus Gone with the Wind, Scarlett O'Hara, Rhett Butler. Are those figures still in favor? Does anybody collect those anymore? So what I did, I found a comparable listing for two of these at a sold price on eBay. They sold for about $45 for both of them. I hit the sell one like this item, took my own pictures, weighed them, saved the draft, and we'll just keep doing that item by item, and then we'll circle back and finish the drafts and list them. Okay, so it's around noon, and I've got 9 or 10 items photographed and weighed and drafted, ready to put the final touches on. But, you know, when you're taking pictures of something, you run into things like you got to take old price tags off, or you got to do a little cleaning on it. And so that's one of those process improvements one can make or decide how they want to do things. You want to get everything cleaned before you do the picture taking? Or do you want to stop and do each little step as you go along? It kind of interrupts your workflow. And then I had to run a quick errand. So, you always get interrupted. You want to try to build in to your workflow for those distractions as well. But we got a good start. Now, you get tired of doing the picture taking and you can go do I got to enroll the kids online and got, some laundry and organize all sorts of things. Cindy's down at the store working it today. And that's just kind of how it's going. That's where we're at so far. Well, despite my best intentions, I got sidetracked. There was a case of listing interruptus, and that's Latin for I got sidetracked and other shit came up. But I got 9 or 10 items photographed and weighed, and the draft started on eBay. And like I said, I got sidetracked. So now it's 48 hours later. I've listed some of those just in my spare time because once I have the pictures and the weights, I can list from anywhere on my mobile app. And I listed this morning and sold the My Twin doll for $35. And then also yesterday sold a mechanical pencil with city service advertising on it, for like $10. So 2 sales in the last 48 hours. Only got 5 or 6 items listed. 5 or 6 more are ready to go. But, life intercedes. Helped my son's class at the gathering place and chaperoned 4 boys running full bore on playground equipment for 3 hours. But they had a blast. Anyway, so that's how it goes. But maybe that is a good process. Dedicate a little time when you can. Take the pictures, get the weights, get the draft started. And then, like I think I said earlier, then you can finish the listing from anywhere. On a park bench, waiting for the class to arrive, in the hot tub, yada yada. So, anyway, that's how it goes. And I am glad I sold this creepy doll. Remember, don't smash the subscribe button. You're not a Hulk. Gently tap it like the cultured individual you are if you like my content.